had a chance to win that one. Your thoughts from Alabama's 24-20 win. Your thoughts from Auburn as they traveled to Georgia. We knew it was going to face an uphill battle. Indeed, it was 42-10. Georgia comes out on top. A lot to dissect there in that one, especially Brian Harson's questionable play calling. Almost reeks of desperation on the fake punt attempt. No matter how you look at it, I mean, you can pick it apart and say, well, if one guy would have made a block, they would have had it, but it kind of reeks of desperation. We can break down Tennessee's dominating performance against LSU in Baton Rouge, 40-13 win for 8th-ranked Tennessee. South Carolina getting the best of Kentucky without Will Levis, 24-14. Mississippi State's dominating performance against Arkansas. So plenty to chew on from over the weekend. That Alabama 24-20 win. Turnovers, the name of that game for Alabama, really kind of kept Texas A&M in it. Texas A&M's offense early on not doing much until Alabama would gift them the ball.
Yep. I mean, it was 4 turnovers. It's the only reason the game was close. If Jalen Milroe had taken a little bit better care of the ball and used his mobility a little bit more, he stayed in the pocket a little bit too long. His strength is as a runner. Then I think Alabama wins the game 31-13 or so, 34-13. But Will Reichert was a little off. He missed a 47-yarder and then missed a 35-yarder. But one of the 47-yarder should have been in the 30s. But Milroe on the 3rd and 2 took a sack, a read, and he instead tried to retreat and get away from the pressure instead of standing in and delivering the ball. But at the same time, I think I would have run the ball if I were Alabama on that 3rd and 2, and if you don't make it, you can even go for it. I thought they should have stuck to the ground game there. I thought there was a couple other opportunities, play calling wise, where they could have utilized Milroe's skill set a little bit more. But again, you can say that every game about some calls by an OC. I didn't think it was that bad a game plan. You just have an inexperienced quarterback who was nervous in the pocket, and when you go back and watch, especially the 2 turnover plays, the O-line did a fine job. I mean, they gave him time, and the alleys were there for him to take off and run. And again, he's just not Bryce Young. You have to stick to your strength, and you have to run the football. I know he's trying to develop as a quarterback, but it's going to be a different type of offense with Jalen Milroe. And again, he should have taken off and run. Waited a half a second to a second too long, and then when he was trying to go through his reads, which he did. He tried to go through his reads. It wasn't, a lot of people were saying he was one read and take off. That's not what was going on. He was trying to go through his progressions. He would stick to his first read a little bit too long, try to get to the second, and then usually by that time, when you're trying to either make up your mind to throw it to the second read or go to the third read, he's getting hit, and then, he fumbled the football. So he should have just taken off probably after the first read. Because, again, he's such a great athlete, and that's his strength as a player. But he's inexperienced. I think he was a little nervous in the first half. He actually played a solid second half. He didn't have any of the turnovers. The interception he threw in the first half, to me, I didn't mind that. It was 3rd down and long. He took a shot deep. I mean, if you get the flag, maybe you get a first down. If the receiver makes a play, he makes a play. It wasn't a good throw. It was picked. It was like a punt. So to me, that wasn't an egregious mistake by Jalen Milroe. I just thought the fumbles were the mistake. And then in the second half, Alabama's driving. They're at the 38 A&M. It looks like they're going to pull away. And then Jace McClellan fumbles on a second and third effort trying to pull away. I felt like at that point in time, McClellan just didn't seem to have it. Sometimes with running backs, it's by feel. They had put Roydell Williams in the second half. He was running like his hair was on fire. I felt like that the combination that going forward should have been, of course, we saw the big game by Gibbs, but it should have been Roydell. I think they should have given Roydell a shot because Jace didn't protect the football. And, again, it was an unfortunate fumble. They hit him from behind, but you just got to protect the ball, and that's the reason the game was close. I said going in, Alabama will win this game and win it easily if they protect the ball and play clean. I thought the penalties were better. Now, they got a couple of them late, on D5. And, of course, I was in the media room. I asked Brian Branch about the interference in the end zone. He told me, that because it was tough to tell what went on, that he felt like, he said it was a middle route. He was supposed to take the tight end. He said, I took him, and then he pushed off twice. He said, no, I think it sucks that JB's interception was called back. I thought it was a great play, but they called him. They called me for interference, and I talked to some people. They said it looked like Branch held the guy, but I was also told that it looked like the guy pushed off. And so I thought it was interesting because we're watching the play and with your binoculars, and there's no flags.
Right,
and I'm thinking, okay, the game's over. Then Mo, Larry, Curly, and Shemp get over there and start talking to one another, and then they decide to call a flag. And then A&M, you're thinking, wow, they got 2 yards, man.
Yeah, what are you going to come up with in 2?
Don't even get it into the end zone, which was bizarre.
The best thing about all of this came out yesterday. Here is Nick Saban explaining the final play of Texas A&M. Got to refresh this here. It's right here. Yeah, this comes from the coaches show, and here it is with Nick Saban and Chris Stewart.
Scored a touchdown earlier on the same formation, and we were actually trapping the flat and playing everybody inside out. So this number 3 receiver did that. All right, so, and that's actually what we wanted to play if it was a 2-point play, which this situation is the same as a 2-point play. Except because they had done that, we wanted to change the leverage on everybody. So we're playing outside technique. This guy's a rat. All right, Henry and 2 are reading the back. If the back goes out, 2 will cover him. If the back stays in, Henry will cover him and green dog him, and 2 will double number 1, who's where they threw the ball. And Terrion's really pushing the guys outside, which has helped squeezes them off because he knows he's getting help from 10 or 2. And then, we were afraid of the quarterback, possibly running the ball. All right, so we dab the front. All right, so we're going to take Will and take him off the edge. These guys are going to break the pocket, and 15 is going to pop out and mirror the quarterback. So we're trying to cover all the bases, obviously, on this play, and you can see how it came out. Terrion, you can see how he's playing outside technique on the guy, so when the guy worked back, he had a chance to make the play. You see how 2 is doubling out to him. You see how Henry's green dog in the back because the back didn't fast release. If the back fast release, 2's covering him. And everybody down here is playing outside technique with 9 being the rat on this side, to cut everybody on the inside route. So had pretty good coverage on the play, and the player made a really good play.
That is Nick Saban explaining in coach's language how that final play with Texas A&M on the goal line went down. That is some fantastic stuff right there. Johnny O on line 1 with us this morning. Good morning, Johnny O.
Good morning, Johnny.
Morning, guys. Love
Morning.
your show.
Thank you.
Just wanted to ask you what your gut feeling is on whether Bryce Young will play this Saturday or not.
I'd say 75% or better that he plays.
Okay, I sure do hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think that's the feeling with a lot of Alabama fans. Probably, you said 75% sure that he plays. I'm probably saying about 95% of the Alabama fans are hoping that Bryce Young plays on Saturday because of Tennessee's performance coming out of Baton Rouge on Saturday and how good the Vols looked in putting LSU aside.
Well, I mean, look, LSU is terrible up front. Arguably their best offensive lineman didn't play in Will Campbell. He was dehydrated the night before or whatever. He didn't even play the left tackle. So their line was in flux already. Jaden Daniels is a limited quarterback. I think their receivers are good, not spectacular. But, again, it's hard to tell because the QB play is spotty. Running back room is
Right.
Defense is pretty good out. And so, and let's just call a spade. They are atrocious in the kicking game. I mean, horrific. I mean, opening kickoff, Besh,
yes.
Right to him, kerthunk, off of his knee, right to Tennessee. And then, and then
he wasn't even lined up on that side initially. He changed in mid-kick so that he could take that kickoff because he wanted the ball, and then he fumbles it.
Yeah, I mean, and their kicking game is horrible. They missed a field goal. I mean, it was just bad.
Right.
I mean, they
But still, Tennessee had to go on the road, though, and
I didn't expect
against a bad team, you still got to perform well.
Right, you do. I didn't expect 37-7 at one point. I thought that LSU would be able to move the ball a little bit better. I thought they'd be able to punch some in, and they had a chance early, but they went for it on fourth down, and Keyshawn Butte with his NIL deal stumbles and bumbles or whatever and can't make the play and probably realizes that he's in the wrong place. But anyway, I mean, here's the thing, though, and I guess it's because of how bad they figured the O-line was going to be. I still can't get it around the fact that Miles Brennan's not the quarterback. I mean, and because I guess Miles was so injury prone, but my Lord, I would have thought he could throw the ball better than this cat.
Right.
I mean, and I know his completion percentage and blah, 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 and I think he threw for 300 yards, but it's kind of hollow because they don't, consistently move the ball. So, but again, it's Tennessee's credit. I mean, they dominated this game. They stopped the run. Tennessee's defense is pretty good against the run, and LSU wasn't equipped to basically exploit the secondary. And I'll be honest with you, Bryce Young has to play for Alabama to have a shot, okay? I'm just going to say it, against Tennessee, because Tennessee is going to score. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, to me, Alabama has to be able to score in the mid-30s to low to mid-40s, all right, to win this game on the road. And wherever you play it, okay? Because they're going to have to score points. And Jalen Milroe, if you can do that. Now, Milroe made some good plays. I didn't think he was horrible. Now, he did have the turnovers in the first half, but he also threw 3 touchdowns. A lot of it was a microcosm of what I've said on this show. When I've seen, Milroe in practices and in a scrimmage, he will rip some throws, man. He'll make some nice throws, but then 2/3 of them are like,
right.
You just don't know because he's erratic with the way he throws the ball. Because, like, Alabama, another thing that Bill O'Brien didn't do that mystified me a little bit is because of the athleticism of Jalen Milroe. I thought the R part of what they were doing, and they didn't do it a whole lot. And when they did do it to Burton, that you saw in the first half,
right,
he ripped a touchdown pass, 35 yards. Woo! I mean, the slant, which is a staple of the RPO, Scott. Because they caught him in the right defensive look, they had backed off. It was open down the middle. He made a good throw. He made a good throw to Cam Latu for his only catch of the game in the red zone for a touchdown. He made a good throw on a crossing route to Ja'Cory Brooks. And when Alabama had a first down at the 15, I thought they might do a crossing route, but they didn't. But there's always those kind of small things. But I just thought overall that he didn't look comfortable in the pocket. He's not a pocket QB. And with the way you play football now, you just can't afford to be halfway through the second quarter and your wide receivers haven't touched the ball.
Right.
And so but Alabama did run the ball. I mean, they had almost 300 yards rushing. If you take out the sacks, they did. And they had a couple other plays that were just, And if Milroe had taken off and not turned the ball over those 2 times, you never know. But he was a young quarterback who had to settle down. So I think, he's a good player, but I just don't think stylistically it fits what Alabama wants to do. Because if I'm Alabama, I'm not trying to be Gus Malzahn. Okay, I'm not. That kind of offense is not going to work for me.
Right.
You need a point guard quarterback who can distribute the football, and you don't need your quarterback being one of your leading rushers. That's not what Alabama is equipped to do. With what in this era of football, to me, you've got to be able to be balanced, and you've got to be able to win a championship now. I mean, Jalen Hurts is probably be the MVP right now. I want to see, though, the Eagles are going to win a Super Bowl. Because to me, he can't be your leading rusher. You've got to have somebody else that's doing it. But I do think for a game or 2, Jalen Milroe could be a football game. But what I'm talking about, championship, because that's what your goal is. And right now, I just think he's raw. He's such a great athlete, man.
But is that game against Tennessee, though? If Jalen Milroe comes out and we hope that Bryce Young, because if you want this game to be good, I mean, we want this game because I want to see Bryce Young against the Tennessee defense. I want to see
Everybody wants to see Bryce Young versus Hendon Hooker because
that's what I want to see.
Think about this.
But is Jalen Milroe enough for Alabama to beat Tennessee on the road?
I don't think so. And the thing is, this is voters should be all over wanting to see this matchup.
I do.
And I'll say it right now because Bryce Young missed the majority of the Arkansas game,
right?
And he missed this entire game against the Texas A&M. Hooker is ahead of him in the polls.
Right. And no offense to Hendon Hooker. And as a Heisman voter, I want to we always say, okay, you got to have that Heisman moment. I don't really believe in the true Heisman moment, but I want to see how you play against the best. And no offense to Tennessee's schedule so far.
Well, it hasn't been the most difficult.
Been the greatest, the toughest. This is where they've got Alabama. They've got Georgia on the horizon.
This is Amen Corner.
This is it for them. And this is where Hendon Hooker can separate himself from the rest. He can start to put himself in that conversation. That's why I want to see what he's going to do against Alabama. I want to see what Bryce Young can do against Tennessee. I don't care if he missed that back half of the Arkansas game because it was just a half. And this Texas A&M game, I'm not going to penalize him for missing that Texas A&M game, but if Hendon Hooker comes out and plays phenomenal against Alabama, then I really got to start looking at Hendon Hooker as well.
No question. And I mean, I think he's maybe still the most underrated guy nationally in the Heisman talk. But I feel good about the two best quarterbacks in the SEC. No question about it.
Yeah, and we did not get to see Will Levis on Saturday against South Carolina, and that ultimately comes back to bite in the rear as they drop one to South Carolina, and we'll get into that later because to say in his post-game locker room to throw comment at Mark Stoops. We're live at Bill Penney Toyota. Come on out here. You can register for a lunch bunch to Baumhauer's Victory Grill. This will get you some lunch with six of your friends at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. We're going to draw for that on Thursday at Baumhauer's, but you can register for it today here at Bill Penney Toyota, so just stop on by. We need to get that break in because when we come back, Travis Reier will help us dissect Alabama.
Well, actually, we're going to talk to Jimmy Himes. Jimmy Himes is going to join us from Sports Radio WNML. We're going to talk to Travis at 8 o'clock, but we're going to talk to Jimmy. Couple of interviews set up this morning, but he's going to join us first here on 97.7 The Zone. Talk some Tennessee and Hendon Hooker.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a wreck in Decatur, 20 and Woodall. Sounds like that one may have had an injury involved. And we got reports of fog this morning. You be careful on that ride in. Have you tried numerous weight loss plans and nothing seems to work? Your hormones could be the problem. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff, Popeye, Skywatch Traffic Center.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Organizations using Salesforce know how powerful the platform is and how much time, money, and headaches it saves if it's set up right and you know how to use it. Let's face it, Salesforce is complicated and time-consuming to figure out, and a lot can go wrong now and down the road without expert help. That's why most Salesforce users work with an implementation partner like Higher Echelon, so they get the absolute most out of their Salesforce investment. Higher Echelon is a 5-star Salesforce consulting partner who won Salesforce Military Hiring Partner of the Year. President Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets. He puts that experience to good use at Higher Echelon, where they pride themselves on hiring veterans. Look, not all Salesforce partners are the same. Don't put your company at risk by going with an inferior partner. Higher Echelon is the trusted partner you can count on to get you up and running and seeing returns on your Salesforce investment in a fraction of the time it would take if you go it alone. Go to higherechelon.com. That's HIGHERECHELON.com to learn more. Go higher and go Army.
Flow Trampoline Park is your one-stop fun spot for your next birthday party. Whether you're a boy, girl, kid, or adult, Flow has you covered. Party packages allow up to 25 plus guests, so you'll be able to bring all of your friends. And with all the fun competition to be had at Flow, maybe enemies too. Party packages will give you access to 60 minutes of jump time, grip socks for all guests, a private party room, and a party coordinator. Flow is behind South Parkway and Drake, behind Cracker Barrel. For more information, go to flowhuntsville.com. Get jumping with Flow.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're speaking another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for their 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including college football and the NFL. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com and use the promo code WZZN. That's BetUS.com and the promo code WZZN.
YKTA wants you to join their team. YKTA is currently adding machine maintenance and die maintenance positions to their fast-growing company. YKTA has new improved work schedules with built-in days off. Pay range is $25 to $33 based on experience and additional shift differential. And YKTA has opportunities for increased pay above top range through advanced skills training. Apply today at yktal.com/careers. YKTA is an equal opportunity employer.
Coming up next, it's the Tom Abraham Show with me, Tom Abraham. Now back to more Talking Ball with Scott and Drew.
And welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. We're out here at Bill Penney Toyota. They're open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The service department is, and then 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday. So if you need that vehicle service, get on out here and let Bill Penney Toyota take care of all your service needs. And Tennessee this weekend playing host to Alabama. Game day back on campus for the second time in 3 weeks. And this is probably, and without a doubt, the most anticipated Tennessee-Alabama game. Probably, this is 3 versus 6. This is probably the most anticipated Tennessee-Alabama game.
Since 1989.
Yeah.
And our next guest will remember that game vividly. I certainly do as a young man watching it at my cousin's house, but this is the last time that the Vols and Alabama have met, both undefeated since 1989 in Legion Field. That was a high-scoring game then. I believe it was 49-30. Alabama wins it over Tennessee. It was the Gary Hollingsworth-led Saran Stacy, the Homer Smith offense, and Cobb and Webb were tremendous running backs for Tennessee. They had an outstanding football team, and it was a great game that year, and this should be a great matchup as Tennessee comes in, one of the top 2 to 3 offenses in all of college football. Alabama comes in with some uncertainty. Bryce Young's health a big question, but Hendon Hooker could be the number one Heisman candidate out there right now, and we're going to break it all down. You can hear him from 3 to 7 Eastern, 2 to 6 Central on Sports Talk, on the Sports Animal, the 99.1, and that is the great Jimmy Himes, and he's with us this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Jimmy, welcome back to Huntsville. You were Drew and Scott. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, guys. How are you doing?
Good, and it's got to be a lot of electricity in the air, Jimmy. Second trip for game day to Knoxville in a few weeks, and as we were just talking, first undefeated matchup with this storied rivalry since '89.
Yeah, it is, and Tennessee fans are excited about the opportunity to go against Alabama. Look, it's the first time in a long time that Tennessee really felt good about its chances to beat Alabama. I would go back to 2007. The last time Tennessee felt this good about beating Alabama. Folks might remember that was the week in which Alabama had some kind of TextGate issue, and they started the game with an onside kick, and then they actually ended up blowing out Tennessee. But going into the game, you had no idea that would happen. There have been 3 games I can think of where Tennessee had a chance to win. There was the 2009 game where Mount Cody blocked the field goal. There was another game more recently when Jerry Gantano inexplicably called the quarterback sneak and fumble. And then there was another game, and I think it was 2015, Tennessee led in the fourth quarter, and Alabama scored a late touchdown. That's it. Those are the only 3 I can remember since 2007 where Tennessee really had a legitimate chance to beat Alabama.
And Jimmy, the Tennessee goes on the road over the weekend, and it's been a season of snapping streaks. They get that game against Florida, and they hadn't beaten LSU in, 5 tries either. So while we get anticipated for this game, Tennessee's doing its part to give us reason to be excited for this game.
I thought it was Tennessee's most complete game under Josh Heupel, what they did at LSU. And by the way, it was the largest margin of victory over LSU for Tennessee since 1940, the largest margin ever in Baton Rouge. But when you look at the offense, it gained over 500 yards. They ran for over 260. The defense had 5 sacks. They held LSU to 1 touchdown, only got an end zone once. The special teams recovered a fumble on the kickoff, had a 58-yard punt return, made 4 field goals, had a punt down on the 4-yard line. The only thing that concerned me a little bit about Tennessee was that, one, they had 12 penalties, and secondly, LSU converted 3 times when they had 3rd and 10 or more. But other than that, I thought Tennessee was terrific. And the Tennessee fans took over. This is obviously an estimate, but based on a number of folks I've talked to them, they had to be close to 15,000 Tennessee fans at that game. And you knew they were loud whenever Brew McCoy would catch a pass. You'd hear this chant of Brew, Brew, Brew. The LSU fans were just stunned at the way that game turned out, and Tennessee fans really took over Tiger Stadium.
And speaking of Brew McCoy, his best game is of all, Jimmy, 7 catches, 140, and big time because they've been able to continue to be very productive offensively with Cedric Tillman being out.
Yeah, and McCoy, that was the second most receiving yards for a Tennessee player against LSU. Only Kelly Washington ever had more in a game. But you're right. Without Cedric Tillman, they didn't miss a beat at LSU. They didn't miss a beat at Florida. They gained over 500 yards against both of those teams. I didn't think they could do that, not without Tillman. And I thought if they did it, a third wide receiver had to step up, McCoy and Jalen Hyatt and somebody else. Well, somebody else has really not stepped up. It's been Hyatt and it's been McCoy. It's been a great coaching job to figure out ways to get them the football. And I've been really impressed with this offense, the play calling, Hendon Hooker, all of what they're doing right now. And it's clear to me that Tennessee has an identity. They know what they want to do, and they love playing for this coaching staff.
I was watching that game on Saturday, and the Tennessee, ESPN kept saying the Tennessee coaching staff didn't really know or still trying to figure out what they had in Brew McCoy. How long do you think it's taken them to what he can bring to this offense and where to put him in and how to use him?
Well, longer than it took me. I watched him at practice the first few weeks, and I thought this guy's a hell of a player. So I liked him right from the start. I think what they're talking about, in fairness to them, is okay, how much of the offense does he know? How much does he consume? Is he better at wideout? Is he better in the slot? What position do we put him at? I think they were trying to figure those things out. But as a physical specimen, I mean, the guy's big, he's athletic, he's got good hands. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but you know what? Neither is Cedric Tillman. And so I just think it was a matter. And here's the other thing about Tennessee's offense. They do an awful lot of reading. And so McCoy has to read the defense to make sure he's in the right place so that the quarterback can trust him. And they were probably waiting a little while on him to figure that out. But athletically, man, he's everything you would want. And I'm not surprised he's doing well for Tennessee.
Well, and then we've got to talk about Hendon Hooker. I said it in Atlanta, and some people thought I was crazy, that I thought he was the top 2 quarterback in the SEC along with Bryce Young, better than Stetson Bennett. Based on what I saw last year, what he did against Alabama last year, what he did for Tennessee. It's continued. His protection of the football, Jimmy, is just stunning. His touchdown to turnover ratio. I think he's the best quarterback at Tennessee since Peyton Manning. I know that's saying a lot. They've had some great ones at Tennessee, but I think he's had that kind of impact so far in his 2 years in Knoxville.
Well, number one, I agree with your assessment that he was the second best quarterback in the SEC. I have said that as well. And I didn't understand all the love for Will Levis. I think he's a nice quarterback, but I don't think he's good as Hendon Hooker. I think he's better than Stetson Bennett. I think he's better than anybody else in the league other than Bryce Young. And I also agree with you on this. We had this call the other day about how would you rate Hendon Hooker among the greatest quarterbacks. And I can only go based on what I have seen. I didn't really see Condrich Holloway, so it's unfair for me to gauge that. But in my opinion, it's Peyton Manning, it's Heath Shuler, and it's Hendon Hooker. And to your comment, the best since Peyton Manning, well, Heath Shuler played before Peyton Manning. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you. I think he's better than Dobbs. I think he's better than Eric Ainge, Casey Clausen. And Clausen was really good, too. But I think you're exactly right. I think he's been terrific.
Yeah, he doesn't turn the ball over. That is what is impressive.
Yeah, he's got – and see, the thing is, he I don't know if this still holds true today, but entering the game, not only had he not thrown an interception, he was leading the SEC in passing yards per attempt, which tells you that not everything is a dump-off pass, right? He'll throw it down the field. Yes. And yet he still has not thrown an interception. So he does a great job of taking care of it. Now, he did have a couple of fumbles. He was lucky that his teammates recovered them. So he needs to make sure he has better ball security. But as far as the interception ratio, it's been incredible.
Well, and we're talking to Jimmy Himes, 99.1 The Sports Animal, Knoxville, Tennessee. And I will say, because of Hendon Hooker and these receivers in the passing game, they get a lot of the headlines. But the offensive line looks improved this year, Jimmy, and the running game was tremendous in Baton Rouge. Talk about the improvement running the football for Tennessee.
Oh, that was huge. I did not think they could run for 260-something yards against LSU. I really didn't. But Jabari Small had a great game. I said before the year I thought Jabari Small could run for 1,200 yards, and he wasn't anywhere near that. He got banged up a little bit. But the running back I saw in Baton Rouge, that's the Jabari Small I thought we would see all year. I thought the offensive line did a great job, and they were without Gerald Mincey at left tackle, so they rotated J.J. Crawford and Dane Davis, and I thought that the offensive line did a really nice job against a very talented defensive line at LSU. Here's the other thing, too. How about a thumbs up for the defensive line? Yes. LSU's running back, 12 carries, 17 yards. Tennessee had 5 sacks. They had 9 tackles for loss. They controlled the line of scrimmage. Now, I'll say this. I don't think LSU's offensive line is very good. But still, I thought Tennessee's defensive line had an outstanding game.
When Josh Heupel was hired, he wasn't a name that Tennessee fans they may have recognized, but it wasn't who they thought they should get. He goes out last year, surprises a lot of people, has a far better year than what most people anticipated. This year, obviously, they start off, and we know the story. They're, top 6 ranked. I mean, they're on their way. How much would it be? I mean, how much more of an elevation for Josh Heupel would it be if he's able to pull off the win on Saturday?
Well, he's already won over. The most important thing was he won over his players. He's now won over the fan base, and with what he's doing. And when you have the ability to score like Tennessee does, then it gives you a chance going into most any game. And, in fact, I'll say they got a chance against anybody this year. Last year I didn't think they had a chance against Tennessee or Georgia. But the way they're putting it together right now, they got a shot against anybody. And when you've got that kind of hope, then that's the most anticipation for Tennessee fans of a football team in many, many years. It may go back to 2004 or 5 or 6, somewhere in that time frame, when Tennessee fans felt this good about the Tennessee football team. When they hired Heupel, I thought his offense would have success in this league because I think that up-tempo offense is a really good equalizer in many respects, but it's been better than I anticipated. And I never thought Hendon Hooker would be this good. He lost his job at Virginia Tech, and I wasn't sure if he'd fit in here. What was I wrong about that? But I think what Heupel's done has been magnificent. And by the way, remember, the Tennessee went through a search. They missed on this guy, that guy. The last guy standing before they hired Heupel was Tony Elliott. He's now at Virginia, and Virginia's struggling mightily. Boy, how much different would Tennessee look if they hadn't hired Heupel? That ended up being a great decision.
No doubt, and hiring his athletic director, Danny White, and it's just been a stunning turnaround. There was so much turmoil going into last season at Tennessee. It's completely done a 180, but I know, Jimmy, when we talked to you in Atlanta, you were concerned about Tennessee's secondary and concerned about them defensively. What kind of progress have we made? I will say, watching the LSU game, they looked better up front. I thought the run defense was very solid. LSU, not the greatest passing team. I know they threw for a lot of yards in the game, but still, what kind of progress have you seen from Tennessee defensively?
I thought the defense won the game at Pitt. It's the first time under Josh Heupel at Tennessee that I thought the defense won a game. Against Florida, I thought they were terrible. Anthony Richardson threw for 453 yards. The secondary had holes all over it. They were awful. They improved against LSU. Now, it's still not good enough in my mind, but they were better. They did a better job against I know they gave up 300 yards. Bottom line is LSU got in the end zone once.
Right.
And that's a more important stat to me. But I was concerned that on 3rd and long, LSU was able to convert because Tennessee couldn't cover somebody. So I have concerns against good passing teams. I still have concerns about that secondary. But with the way the pass rush has come along, and I think the linebackers are playing well, I think that to a certain degree they can mask the weakness of the secondary.
Does Tennessee the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline from Knoxville, Tennessee. Jimmy, does Tennessee able? I mean, it's going to be a raucous environment inside Neyland Stadium.
Crazy.
If Tennessee gets off to a fast start, if they're able to continue this stretch, I mean, is this the year then that they stop that streak?
If they get off to a fast start and the crowd gets into it, yeah, there's a chance. But here's the other thing, too. Which quarterback's going to play for Alabama?
Mm-hmm.
Knowing past history, I would bet you money Bryce Young will be the quarterback. If they have to go with Milroe, I think that changes their offense. Look, did he have like 3 turnovers against A&M? A couple of fumbles and a pick, something like that. They're not the same offense with him. Now, they also will run more zone read. He's going to run the ball a lot more than Bryce Young would, so that changes it. And then Tennessee's got to worry about Demir Gibbs, who looks like one of the best running backs in the country. But to your point, if Tennessee got off to a fast start, they get ahead of Alabama. If Milroe's the quarterback and the fans get into it like they would given your scenario, yeah, Tennessee's got a great chance to beat Alabama.
Yeah, and then I just think it's going to be an outstanding matchup. I do think Bryce will play, but I think it's the 2 best QBs in the SEC. It's a Heisman-level game because I think Hendon Hooker is that good, and I'm a little mystified that he's not getting more buzz from the NFL people. I think hopefully that's going to change. I talked to Chris Lowe, who I know you know very well. He was in Tuscaloosa. He was talking about how he's not been in a pro system, but even the NFL is kind of changing the way they're running offense. The way this guy throws the deep ball, he's such a great deep ball thrower. He's so accurate and protects the ball, Jimmy. And with the success of a guy like Jalen Hurts, I think Hendon Hooker is an NFL prospect.
I do, too. Now, I'm going to make a comparison, and don't get me wrong on this, but I remember years ago there were quarterbacks coming out of Texas Tech. There was Graham Harrell and Sonny Pumbly and something. and they never made it in the NFL. Why? They were system quarterbacks. Then along comes a guy named Pat Mahomes. Well, he's a system quarterback. Well, yeah, he can run any system. So my point is that just because you're not in a, quote, pro system, that doesn't mean you can't flourish as a pro quarterback. I like everything about Hendon Hooker. I think he's very smart. He's very accurate. He's mobile. I think he can be an NFL quarterback. I really do. And I think that the NFL is this isn't for everybody, but those NFL teams that don't think he can play quarterback in the league, I think they're going to be embarrassed because I think he'll be a good NFL quarterback.
And then finally, Jimmy, if Tennessee is going to end this streak and get the biggest signature win so far for Josh Heupel, what must they do Saturday afternoon?
Well, they got to score a lot of points. Josh Heupel's never won a game at Tennessee or anywhere as a head coach when he didn't score at least 30 points. I think his record's 40-7 when he has scored at least 30. So that's a magic number. Also, and I don't know if this is the last 5 years exactly what this encompasses, but there was some stat about if Alabama holds you to less than 30, they're like 39-0. But if you scored 30, they're 4-4.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if Tennessee's offense can click and they can get into the 30s, they got a chance. They have got to do a better job in the secondary. They got to make some plays. Here's the other thing, too, and I know this applies to a lot of games, but it'll apply to this one in particular. They've got to win the turnover battle. A&M won it and had a chance to beat Alabama. Tennessee has to win the turnover battle against Alabama, and if they can do that, they can beat them.
Well, that's a great stuff, great insight from Jimmy Himes. Jimmy, we always appreciate the time. I know it's a busy morning for you. Let everybody know how they can follow you guys' coverage. It's going to be a big week in Knoxville.
You can follow us on iHeartRadio. You can also find us at 99.1 FM, 990 AM if you're in the area. You can also pick us up on the website, 991dsportsanimal.com, and that's where I post my blogs, where you can have a chance to read those as well.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
All right, let's get a break in. Going to wrap up Hour 1 live from Bill Penney Toyota when we return.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
They should be close to clearing that wreck in Decatur 20 near Woodall. That one may have had an injury involved. Lots of fog reports coming in this morning. If you got a long way to go, especially, that could be a problem for you. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
AVIQ. Who is AVIQ? AVIQ is audiovisual the intelligent way, where we put our IQ to work for your AV needs. With more than 100 years combined experience in audio, video, and automation, our team of experts is dedicated to one thing: helping you discover technological solutions that make your home special. Once you experience a game or a movie on one of our state-of-the-art home theater systems, you may never leave the house again. AVIQ can build the entire system for you or provide the quality components if you're a do-it-yourselfer. But AVIQ is more than just home theater and state-of-the-art sound systems. We offer a variety of control options for home technology. Energy efficiency, heightened security, and improved quality of life are all attainable through the automation of home systems. Intuitive and user-friendly control is our main priority in designing a system that meets your needs. Don't just take our word for it. You need to see it to believe it. Come visit us at our state-of-the-art showroom on University, just east of Jim and Nick's, across from AT&T, or visit aviqhsv.com.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your insulation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on two services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatewitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant bankers put care into action to help you live legendary by stepping up when you need us most and doing what's right even when no one is watching. Come experience a local bank whose people greet you by name and treat you like family. Bryant Bank, member FDIC.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Attorney Tommy Sinyard on behalf of Sinyard Law, and again proud to be a sponsor of All Things Football here on ESPN Radio. My son Bart and I started our own law firm July 1 and are very proud and excited to be bringing you our 50 years of collective national award-winning injury trial law experience. Check us out on the web, sinyardlaw.com.
Sinyard Law, nationally recognized, locally respected.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
After a long, hot summer, there's nothing quite like the cool, crisp mornings of fall in Huntsville, Alabama. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and it's time to get out there. Whether it's hunting, camping, boating, biking, or kayaking, we've got the F-150 to take you there. It's truck month at Woody Anderson Ford, and we've got 2022 F-150s in stock on the lot, ready for your driveway today. And with your good credit, get financing as low as 2.9% for up to 60 months. This offer ends 10/31. Being the best-selling truck in America for 44 years in a row is no small feat. But I promise you, if you come drive an F-150, you'll understand. Woody Anderson Ford has nearly 100 F-150s to choose from and lots of colors and option packages. One of these is right for you. Truck month at Woody Anderson Ford. Exceptional deals on all our trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. And a great selection of Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicles. Woody Anderson Ford, corner of Jordan and Sparkman. Hope to see you soon.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Touchdown, Alabama! No look pass inside, but he got to go to play.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
That's the price you pay. Welcome back, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. And we've talked a lot about Alabama's win over Texas A&M. On the flip side, the Auburn Tigers knew they were going to have a tough one on the road at Georgia. And it was a scoreless first quarter. And Auburn then just eventually, the lack of an experienced quarterback kind of caught up to him, and Georgia able to cover there in Athens. A lot of people questioning Brian Harson's play calling there, going forward on fourth down with the fake punt. Some calling it an act of desperation. But ultimately, we expected Auburn to fall on the road at Georgia, and they did, and Georgia covered in that one.
Well, I mean, Auburn just took a knife to a gunfight. Everybody's talking about why did he fake the punt, and Jason Caldwell, who I respect so much, he was at the game. He tweeted, he's like, your defense is playing good at the end of the first quarter. Defense is playing well, and why do you not just, And Brian Harsin, I watched his press conference. He said that they had looked at it as far as the fake, the possession before, and they thought it was there. They didn't do it. And then they thought it was there again, and obviously didn't block it up right, and it turned the momentum and got Georgia rolling. I think it was inevitable that it was still going to happen. It's just because Auburn is – it's almost like what happened to Alabama Saturday. Even though Alabama still had not nearly 400 yards of offense, 399 yards, but it just felt like at times when Alabama was trying to throw the ball, Scott, that they were playing left-handed, that it was just tough to get the ball down the field, you know what I'm saying? And so that's the kind of thing it kind of felt like with Auburn. They were just, for example, you look at the stats. Tank Bigsby, their best offensive player, I think everybody would say. He had like 12 or 13 touches, but he had 10 rushes for 19 yards. That's just not a formula where Auburn can win. Because they don't have a quarterback who is going to consistently make plays in the passing game. He did against LSU and had his best game, and yet they still couldn't hold that lead. This is a team that's just been offensively challenged and just has not been able to, score in the second half of games. And again, I just never would have pictured in my head. Now, part of this is injury because of TJ Finley's shoulder, but I never would have thought Robbie Ashford would be the quarterback. I just didn't think that he fit their offense. A good athlete. He's a guy you can use in packages, but as a starter, no, just because I just don't think he can throw the football. It goes back to what we're saying. It's so hard in this era of football if you can't be balanced and throw the football down the field to be consistent offensively. It's what Jason Caldwell has said on our show about 16, 12, 13, 14, 15 play drives. You've got to be able to make explosive plays and make a 50 or 60-yard play, 30 or 40-yard play, and get in the end zone. Because it's in a long drive when you're trying to get 5 and 6 and 7 yards at a time, there's going to be a mistake. And a lot of times it's hard to overcome. It's hard to possess the ball like that. And Auburn is just really limited in what they can do in the passing game, and they're limited up front. Yeah, they're just not very good on the offensive line. And when you looked at the matchup with Georgia's defense, it just didn't seem like it was one where Auburn was going to be able to stay in it unless Georgia was really sloppy with the ball. They weren't sloppy. They didn't hit on all cylinders, and I think that's why it took Auburn, and why Auburn was able to stay in it for the majority of the first half. But then Georgia inevitably turned it on in the second half, and then Stetson Bennett, he doesn't get enough credit for this. He makes an explosive play with his legs.
Yeah,
with
that was his longest career touchdown run.
That's right.
The one note for Auburn, and this was hard to believe. I did not know this until the game notes and then everything came out.
Right.
That Robbie Ashford's touchdown pass was the first touchdown pass for an Auburn Tiger quarterback since 2009 inside Sanford Stadium.
Oh, wow. Didn't know that
Auburn
either.
had not had a touchdown pass in Georgia since 2009 before that one.
The series has been one dominated by Georgia lately. I mean, especially at Sanford Stadium. They've been able to win and win handily, and nobody was surprised by this. That's why when I was receiving some messages during the day, like, is Harsin going to make it back to the bus and all this stuff, I'm like, Auburn knew they were facing an uphill battle in this game. I didn't see anything happen with Harsin.
Getting rid of, I know everybody is chanting, we got to get rid of him, got to move on. Athletic director at this time. It makes no sense. I know you want to move on, and inevitably they will move on.
Yeah.
But right now it's not going to do any good. It's just going to tear apart the locker room. Right now they're still playing hard for Brian Harsin. You might as well just let him finish it out, get a new AD in there, and start fresh.
Well, it's just like Cole Kulik of SEC Network said. He was on a team where they fired Terry Bowden. He's like, it doesn't motivate you. Oh, well, now we got rid of this coach, so now we're going to grind it and win. Yeah. He goes, it's extremely hard.
Robbie Ashford isn't going to all of a sudden become an all-SEC quarterback if you get rid of Brian Harsin.
Exactly. It's really just going to be harder to prepare for games and go forward.
Just leave it there. I mean, inevitably Auburn will have a new coach, just not right now. All right, Travis Reier will join us on the flip side. We'll break down Alabama's 24-20 win over Texas A&M.
Smart businesses are always looking for ways to improve. Better work days can start with Cintas. Your dedicated Cintas service reps help make sure you have what you need when you need it. We'll stock your essential cleaning products, deliver hygienically clean workwear, inspect your fire extinguishers, and provide first aid and safety supplies. Cintas is with you every step of the way, so you stay a step ahead. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
They should be close to clearing that wreck in Decatur 20 near Woodall. That one may have had an injury involved. Lots of fog reports coming in this morning. If you got a long way to go, especially, that could be a problem for you. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the North Parkway, Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 70s. Some of us could even hit 80 degrees. Dropping into the mid and upper 40s through the overnight. A mostly to partly sunny sky for your Tuesday. Really is going to be a fantastic afternoon. Temperature climbing into the lower 80s, dropping into the low 60s as we head into the overnight. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to be possible Wednesday afternoon, but the best opportunity for any sort of thunderstorm activity or widespread rain is going to come Wednesday night into Thursday. Temperatures on Wednesday climbing into the low and mid 80s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And just like that, we're back. We are ready for hour 2 of Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. We're hanging out here at Bill Penney Toyota Monday through Friday. Their service department is open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and then on Saturday 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you need all of those needs to get your vehicle serviced, get on out. That first hour, we kind of broke down some good, the bad, the ugly from over the weekend as far as Alabama and Auburn and a little bit of Tennessee goes. And time to switch it back to that Alabama game, that 24-20 win for Alabama, a game that was turnover central for Alabama. Got to control those going forward. And Nick Saban alluded to that afterwards and said there were some other things as well. And Travis Reier now can help us.
Yes, Travis joins us each and every week, and we always enjoy his observations and insight. Since 2003, the senior analyst for BamaOnline.com, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Also the Second Helping, SEC Second Helping podcast, daily one with our good friend Brent Beard, and the Talk columnist and writer Chase Goodbread. You can hear Travis on the Daily BamaOnline.com reaction one after the Alabama Crimson Tide survive against Texas A&M. We're going to pick his brain now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Travis, hope you had a great weekend. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you?
Doing great. How are you guys?
We are good. Your thoughts immediately, about this Alabama performance. A sloppy one a little bit, but of course it's a young quarterback, his first ever start. There were some rough moments. I thought he settled down in the second half, but ultimately Alabama having to survive inside Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Yeah, it was. It sums it up, I think, exactly, Drew. And certainly if you're -3 in turnover margin and playing with your backup quarterback, that's typically not going to be a winnable situation. But Alabama was able to overcome itself. We've said that, it seems like, more than once this season with this team. And yes, Milroe can't turn the ball over like he did. That simply can't happen. But I thought the other two phases of the team, too, defensively, the numbers look good, but there were situations where they could have gotten off the field in the first half against an A&M team, if we're being honest, and an offense in general that is the worst in the SEC. I mean, they rank 14th in total offense, the Aggies do. And so it was good to see the defense force some field goals there in the second half. And you're just not used to seeing Will Reichard miss multiple field goals in a game either. So the 35-yarder especially was a potentially harmful situation. But give him credit, too, because the 50-yarder looked big by the end of the game. You're up 24-20 instead of 21-20. So in retrospect, if he doesn't
on the phone lines, and he was alluding to that, and that was a good point. Doesn't make that Texas A&M, instead of having to
they're kicking
get
an extra point basically to win the game.
Yeah.
They were on the 2-yard line, so the 50-yard kick was big. And I think we do have Travis back on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Travis, sorry about the little snafu there, but finish your thought.
Yeah, it was a situation where end of the game, a defense had a chance to really slam the door. Instead, it was more of a hold on for dear life situation as A&M was able to convert 3 third downs on that drive. And finally, it ends with A&M right there on the doorstep at the 2. But again, not Will Reichard's best night, obviously, but the 50-yarder earlier in the game looked pretty big there when Alabama had a 4-point lead and A&M had to get in the end zone.
Travis, your thoughts on Jalen Milroe? Obviously, his first career start. There were going to be some ups and downs, but how did you take away his performance?
Yeah, I've talked about this since the game, and it seems like there's situations where guys are thrust into games like he was at Arkansas, and they don't play very well. Well, he, for the most part, played pretty good against Arkansas, played well. But it's a different dynamic in being the guy, being the starter, and I think he felt some of that. It looked like it anyway, based on his performance. And plus, your upcoming opponent has a pretty good feel for whether or not you're going to be out there. So from a preparation for you standpoint, that helps your opponent, whereas Arkansas didn't really have that advantage in game. So nervy is the way I would describe a lot of it. Reckless with the football on too many occasions. Had 3 turnovers in the game. Easily could have had 2 more at least. And that can't happen with the way this team is built, with the kicking game and a defense. That game shouldn't have been as close. I mean, and defensively, I thought it was okay from Alabama. I've heard from some Alabama fans who tried to convince me it was 2011-like. I didn't see that.
No, I didn't see that.
But, it was good enough. And so here we are going into the back half of the season, and we're still waiting to see a performance befitting of what we thought this team would be going into the season. And maybe it'll be this week, and it might need to be this week.
I think it's going to need to be, Travis. I don't think Alabama has a shot without Bryce Young behind center in this game. I'll say as much of that. But I wasn't sure how good Tennessee was going to be going into this year. I wasn't as sold, but certainly Hendon Hooker has continued to play at a very, very high level. I think this is the two best quarterbacks in the SEC if Bryce Young is healthy. Their defense, I don't think it's great, but it's improved. And, as Jimmy Himes just told us, and I know you know Jimmy well, Tennessee knows who they are, and they're very comfortable with their identity, and there's a lot of synergy with this coaching staff right now. And they're even potent without Cedric Tillman the last few weeks.
Yeah, they've still stepped it up on the outside with Hyatt, Baker, McCoy, and some of those other guys. But, no, Tennessee's definitely improved in year two under Josh Heupel. You saw it even a year ago. The record maybe didn't reflect it as much, but definitely improved. And I still think, though, Tennessee has looked the part, no doubt about it. But how will Tennessee respond to this kind of week? This is a different kind of week. This isn't last week at LSU. This isn't even Florida from a couple weeks ago. This is, at the top of the college football heap that we're talking about. This is the intense scrutiny and focus that comes with it. Hooker is, you're right, tremendous. I think offensively, Tennessee has to just be and play within itself. That's what I'll be interested in. Does Hooker try to do too much? Is there too much hero ball that comes into play in a situation like this? Alabama defensively has the pieces needed to do as well against this Tennessee offense as a defense can. I think there's still concerns on the outside because with the way Tennessee likes to spread the field and get the ball vertically, Terrion Arnold was up and down, but I give him credit in the game against A&M. He kept coming back even though he had some penalty issues. He gave up a couple of explosive plays, but he was there at the end to have good enough coverage to force Haynes King into making the perfect throw there at the goal line, and it didn't happen. So, no, I think that Tennessee offensively, no doubt, Tillman or no Tillman, is going to be difficult to deal with. We saw that in the first half in Tuscaloosa last year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Alabama did some things from that point forward and cleaned up some busts and some things like that to finish the game, but it has the ingredients for a shootout, and I agree. I think you absolutely need Bryce this week, and you need that defense to, when it has opportunities, to close the door with a little more emphasis than what we saw Saturday night.
Do you get a strong sense that Bryce Young plays on Saturday?
I would think it would be trending that way based on the fact that we heard from Saban Saturday night talk about Bryce wanting in the game against A&M. Now, what his functionality level was to be able to actually do that, I don't know. It sounded like as last week moved along, it was more of a pain management issue for Bryce than anything else, and that's obviously still very important. But so it'll be interesting to hear from Nick today at noon and see exactly where Bryce is and if Nick is going to reveal much of that to begin with, and then see how the week starts to take flight.
Yeah, it really does. And then 2 weeks to assert himself across from Will Anderson. And, of course, as we know, he was last year, even with Will and the numbers he was putting up, he complimented him so well. But we saw 2 sacks from Dallas Turner. We saw Braswell being disruptive. This is one of those weeks where he hasn't shown his entire hand, but going to be really interesting to see how they approach this Tennessee offense. Pressure is going to need to be put on Hendon Hooker, Travis.
It is, but it's going to start on early downs with that run game for Tennessee. And
right.
It's a similar challenge to what Arkansas gave you a couple weeks ago. You got a large quarterback. Hendon Hooker isn't a little guy,
no.
And he's probably, I would say, is more dynamic than KJ Jefferson when he runs the football.
Definitely.
Both are loads, and so, how do your inside linebackers hold up in that defensive front? Because Tennessee's going to get 4 guys outside the numbers and then try to create a light box and say, our 5 guys and our quarterback and running back, we got 7 guys to go against your 5 or 6. Now, the numbers obviously don't work out that well when you look at it from that perspective, so you're right. And I think with that, Alabama safeties have to be within the hashes, and that creates those one-on-ones on the outside. And so Kool-Aid McKinstry, Terrion Arnold, Brian Branch at those corner and star positions, they're going to be out on their own a good bit, and they're going to have to play at a very high level because we know Tennessee loves to take some shots down the field. And first and foremost, though, how do you go about your front? You like to play Dallas Turner and Will Anderson together as much as you possibly can, and I totally get that. But you're not going to be the biggest front in the world with those two guys out there. Do you go with 3 defensive linemen and Anderson? The problem with that is you can't sub from one down to the next because Tennessee goes so fast. So there's a lot of things to consider when you're going against this offense this week.
Yeah, and Travis, you follow this game, you followed this series. This is the most anticipated Alabama-Tennessee game in quite some time.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I guess, we were thinking that 2015 was pretty anticipated there in Tuscaloosa, and that ended up being a very competitive game in 2015. 2016, as I recall, had that potential, but I think Tennessee lost at A&M maybe the previous week.
They did.
And that took some of the shine off of that 16 game, and then Alabama ran for, I think, nearly 500 yards in Knoxville in Jalen's true freshman season. So, no, I think that's the most recent I can recall anyway would have been those games.
And then, Travis, we started seeing some explosiveness against Arkansas, but Arkansas defensively has struggled all year. But Tennessee, Anthony Richardson, who's not, I would say, an upper-level quarterback in this league, threw for 450 yards, and their secondary has been vulnerable. It was thought to be vulnerable before the season started. Now, Jalen McCullough has been arrested. His availability is questioned. Well, he's a 4-year starter, basically, back there for the Vols. The LSU really didn't have – I know they have good receivers, but Daniels is not a top-level QB, even though they threw for 300 yards. They really didn't have and the O-line to exploit Tennessee's defense. Alabama does. How do you see this Alabama offense matching up against Tennessee's defense?
Yeah, I think the potential is there. I know some Alabama fans after Saturday night would find this hard to believe. I think even with Milroe, Alabama can score in the 30s in this game. I think the difference is with Bryce, they have the potential to score 50-plus against this Tennessee defense. Now, we'll see how that plays out over the remainder of the week. But, no, I saw what you saw. And I know Tennessee's made some changes on the back end, and specifically maybe more at corner, and feel like they've upgraded in those areas, and perhaps they have. But, seeing Anthony Richardson and go Andre Ware against that defense was pretty startling, especially after you watched Anthony Richardson just this past weekend against Missouri. So, I think it has, again, Tennessee can certainly score. I think against this Tennessee defense, Alabama can certainly score. So, if you want to see a game in the high 30s into the 40s, I think there's strong potential for that this week.
We're talking to Travis Reier, BamaOnline.com. Travis, in your mind, I know you always break down the key matchups in the game each week. Somebody under the radar, Alabama, who would that be in your mind that has to play really well for them to beat the Vols on Saturday?
I think that it's easy to point to guys like Jahmyr Gibbs and
right.
Yeah, I think Henry To'oTo'o has got to be really good this week at the middle linebacker position, and it's a intriguing scenario because he obviously spent his first 2 years at Tennessee. He's going back to Knoxville as a member of the Alabama defense, and it's a tough matchup for linebackers against this Tennessee offense because you have to account for the zone read game. You have to account for the back. Jabari Small and the Tennessee backs are really capable. And then you got to deal with Hooker, and what he's able to do with his legs, first and foremost. I think you got to take care of the early downs and the run game. I think Alabama and Tuscaloosa did a good job of that last year. They gave some things up explosively on the back end, but ultimately they were good enough against the Tennessee run game to make Tennessee do it all, really, through the air. And I know when you look at Hooker right now and you look at these Tennessee receivers, you might think, well, that's what Tennessee wants to do. No, Tennessee doesn't. Tennessee wants to maintain this run game that has been outstanding. You're talking about between Tennessee and Alabama, a couple of run games that can really take over football games. So I would say Toa. You know, I don't think he'll be under the radar because of the storylines involved. But I think we're going to talk a lot about the passing game for Tennessee and the corners for Alabama and the wide receivers for Tennessee, and is Cedric Tillman good to go this week and all those things. But good old blocking and tackling, it's still going to go a long way in this game Saturday, and it probably won't be talked about as much.
And Travis, to close it, for Alabama to get a win, which would be, probably their biggest of the year, considering Arkansas, was a tough environment, but, they were able to survive. The Hogs have played a very difficult schedule. They're in a rough patch of it right now. Texas played them very tough, but this Tennessee offense is better than the one we've seen from the Longhorns, at least, without Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers back now. But overall, in your mind, what must happen? I definitely think Bryce Young needs to play in this game, but what does Alabama need sans Bryce Young?
Defensively, they need to get through the early stages without giving up too much, because Tennessee thrives on the fast starts.
Yes.
And it's shock and awe with the way they play offense and then the playmaking ability they have at the skill positions. It can be 14-0 very quick. We've seen that from UT in games this season, even last week at LSU. So, you get through the first quarter and you're in a pretty good place still defensively, and you sort of make it play out from there. I think Alabama still has the better team top to bottom, and then you can allow that aspect of the matchup to maybe work its way out over the final three quarters or so. But you got to survive the storm early. I don't think it's imperative totally to Alabama's chances. I don't think going down 10 or 14-0 would just totally negate Alabama's ability to win the football game, because even Florida was able to overcome some of that with Tennessee a few weeks ago. And but it would go a long way. If you get through the first 15 minutes and you're even, or somehow you're ahead in this game, I think that bodes well for Alabama.
Well, good stuff. Great insight into this, and it's the first time they've been undefeated since 1989, and we remember that shootout at Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama. Could be the same kind of game. Do you get that sense? I get the sense it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, I think so. Like I said earlier, I think it's a game that gets into the mid-30s, maybe even into the 40s, and there's certainly the potential. Because Tennessee is really that good on offense and that explosive. And to be honest with you, the Alabama defense, while statistically the numbers look good, there are still stretches where they don't play to those numbers, I guess you could say. And so I think both teams are going to want to get this thing into the red zone and then see if the other can earn it from there. If you can force multiple field goals as one of these teams instead of touchdowns, I think that could be the difference too.
Well, great stuff, Travis. Thank you very much for your weekly visit, and let everybody know how to follow BamaOnline.com's coverage.
Just go to BamaOnline.com or Alabama.247sports.com. Either way will get you to us.
Thanks, Travis.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Travis.
it.
Thanks.
All right, let's get a break, and when we come back, Talking Ball going to resume live from Bill Penney Toyota.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just got a wreck at Garth Road in 4 Mile Post. That one's got a bus involved, and they're wanting the children checked out, but no report of obvious injury. 431 in Wilson Mans, and no injury, just working on getting it cleared out of the way. Someone dies from heart disease every 36 seconds. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue can help keep your heart healthy. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Football season is here, and as always, the best place to catch every game is downtown at Humphreys Bar and Grill. Humphreys is celebrating by bringing back their game day football specials. $2.75 Miller Lite, Coors Light, Yingling, and $3.50 Yellowhammer Gold Pints. $4 Fireball shots. Anytime football is on. And don't forget football trivia every Sunday night at 6. The best place to catch all the games all season long is downtown at Humphreys Bar and Grill.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down? And maybe you haven't been getting the exercise you need. If you want to get back to the man you used to be, but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns, to problems with muscle gain and bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction. And if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Huntsville Men's Clinic, we've treated many men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how low testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 256-368-0333. That's 256-368-0333. Or go to HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com. That's HuntsvilleMen'sClinic.com.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
If you're anything like me, you're ready to say goodbye budget stress and hello fall style. That's why I went to Kohl's, where I not only got an extra 15% off, I also got styles from Sonoma Goods for Life for under $9, clothes for my husband from Apartment 9 at just over $10, and boots for less than $43. Or you can save more with a Kohl's card. So if you want more style and more savings, you know where to go. Select styles, 15% offer in September 25th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10-plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
Flow Trampoline Park is your one-stop fun spot for your next birthday party. Whether you're a boy, girl, kid, or adult, Flow has you covered. Party packages allow up to 25 plus guests, so you'll be able to bring all of your friends. And with all the fun competition to be had at Flow, maybe enemies too. Party packages will give you access to 60 minutes of jump time, grip socks for all guests, a private party room, and a party coordinator. Flow is behind South Parkway and Drake, behind Cracker Barrel. For more information, go to flowhuntsville.com. Get jumping with Flow.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up at noon today. Now, back to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And one of those losses that you always look back and you sit there and you say, oh my goodness, how did that happen? Probably is going to be LSU's win over Mississippi State as we look back on it, because as rough as Brian Kelly's team is right now, team is playing completely opposite after that loss to LSU to start the SEC campaign. They no problems this past weekend with Arkansas, and now 16th ranked Mississippi State on the road this coming weekend at 22nd ranked Kentucky, who is coming off that loss to South Carolina and Shane. Kentucky now 1-2 in SEC play, and they still have the big guns to come out there in the East to go through.
Well, they do, but, I mean, you have to also understand Arkansas didn't have K.J. Jefferson in Starkville. He was hurt after he got sacked, and my man Otis injured him a little bit. I think it was really more of a head injury, so thoughts and prayers to him. Hopefully he's going to be okay and be back in the lineup this week. But Arkansas needs K.J. Jefferson. I mean, Malik Hornsby came off the bench. He's a really good athlete, but K.J. is the starting quarterback for a reason. And, in Mississippi State, they have a lot of veterans. Remember, Matt Wyatt told us that. They have a lot of experience. It was a little surprising that they missed the opportunity in Baton Rouge because they got off to a fast start. But LSU was able to make some defensive adjustments and make some plays offensively in that game and win going away. So, game for State. But they've bounced back nicely. They put themselves right in the mix, and they're staying in contention. West. Now I would imagine Will Levis will be back for Kentucky. They certainly better hope so, but this is a huge game for the Wildcats because this could turn into a 7-5 type year really quickly if they don't get this win over Mississippi State. And then for State, it just heightens everything because if they win this game, then you head into a top 25 matchup with Alabama, and Alabama is going to be coming off of an emotional, unbelievable task going to Knoxville, Tennessee, and you have to either come down from a big win or get yourself back up if the Vols play exceptionally well in this game. If you're Alabama, you're going to be trying to stay in the SEC Western Division race, and this will be a game in Tuscaloosa, so it's an interesting part of the schedule because it'll be right before Alabama's bye week too. So a lot at stake coming up for Alabama this weekend on the road in Knoxville, but also for this Mississippi State team who, and I think Mike Leach likes this. They're flying under the radar, playing solid football, and this is his third year there. He's got a lot of his guys, and this is a matchup. Quite frankly, if you ask me who's going to win it, I would say Mississippi State. I like their.
Well, if you're Arkansas, boy, this is not how you want to rebound, or this is not what you probably want to do, and that is get on a plane and travel pretty much across the country as Arkansas BYU this
brutal
weekend.
Schedule, man.
Yeah, that is a tough schedule. You just get done playing a tough SEC couple games. I mean, you have Alabama, and then you have a game with Mississippi State, and now to BYU to take on the Cougars, and that is not going to be an easy task right there. And then you come back, and you still got to finish the rest of your SEC portion. Let's go out to the phone lines. Let's hope this one goes better. Jeff from the Borough with us this morning. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning, Jeff.
I was going, guys, I'm sure you heard about Tennessee, did you not?
Yeah,
yes.
Jalen McCullough.
Yes.
Yeah, we already went over it, yes.
Can't even find a apartment. Pretty bad, isn't it? Gets to drunk, you can't find what apartment you're going in. Pretty bad, but he'll be on the field if he's sober. You can bank on that. If he's sober Saturday, he'll be on the field. Tennessee, that's how Tennessee operates. He'll be out there playing just like the guy says. Guy told that cop, I kill cops where I come from. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. So he told that cop back in the car. So they're used to wearing orange. They're used to getting ready for prison when they wear that orange. So Tony Robinson, the NFL had to pull him out of jail to play during that strike. So you know how that is. But and everything. So, but Kentucky, Levis was hurt, and it wasn't Sharon's fault. We just didn't make plays around him, and you got to give South Carolina credit. They beat us. There wasn't no doubt about it. So, but hopefully they can beat Mississippi State Saturday. Hopefully if Levis is healthy. If he's not, Sharon will be playing again. His next man up, no excuses. So none whatsoever. So we just got to go play and do what we do, and I'm sure people's rooting for us to lose. That's fine, but we go out there and play anyway. So we're gonna do what we do. So but 7-5, I don't think it'll be that bad. But who knows? I guess we'll give up. I guess we'll just go ahead and forfeit Tennessee and Georgia. Then they're so good, we'll just go ahead and forfeit them games. We won't go to Knoxville. They won't come to Lexington. So that'd be 2 more losses for us. We'll just go ahead and forfeit them. But I guess Drew, that the A&M game's a little closer than you thought, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Alabama was sloppy, and if people were listening to the show, and they were, I said if Alabama was sloppy with the ball and didn't protect it, and then let A&M hang around, it could be close. If they didn't, if they turned the ball over, got penalties. The penalties weren't that bad, but the turnovers were, and the turnovers allowed Texas A&M and the kicking game. Will Reichert had an uncharacteristically bad game, but they just allowed the Aggies to hang around. If Alabama had protected the ball, I think they win it by 3. They did not, and it allowed Texas A&M to hang around.
Well, because if you look at it, every time Texas A&M had the ball, if Alabama gave them the ball back via a punt or a turnover or turnover on down, something like that, Texas A&M was not able to do anything with the football. Every time Alabama gave them a turnover in that short field, it gave them a little momentum, and then they found out, and then they were able to score those points. So imagine if Alabama does not turn that ball over, Texas A&M doesn't have 17 of those points.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you say if Will Levis doesn't play against South Carolina, but he didn't play, Kentucky didn't win. If Will Levis plays, maybe Kentucky wins, but that's the ball game. See, you don't turn the ball over.
But see, the difference in that equation is Alabama did not have Bryce Young, did not play their best game, turned the ball over, and still
their C
won.
Game and won.
And Kentucky,
teams do.
That just tells you but it does go to show you how valuable, number one, is having an back in the SEC is. It goes to show you how valuable that is because Kentucky struggled with South Carolina. Arkansas, if they don't have KJ Jefferson, they struggle to win ball games. Auburn does not have a proven starting quarterback. They are struggling to win ball games. You have to have a proven starting quarterback if you want to have sustained success.
Well, Harsin never should have left Idaho, and Auburn should have never fired Chiswick or Malzahn, either one. So they're getting what comes to them, as far as I'm concerned. He never should have left Idaho, and Scott Frost never should have left Florida. But they were and they took the money, and now they're going to be out of a job. Frost is out of one, and I guess Harsin will be out of one real soon. I know you guys for taking the cash, anytime you can take cash. But see, it's like old track coach said, that the grass might be greener on the other side, but there ain't enough grass. It's simple as that. You stay where you at. You don't fool around. But I know you guys want to chase the money, so y'all have a good day and see you.
Thanks, Joe.
And I know you said that Shane Beamer had some things to say because it was a big win for the Gamecocks. Their biggest win of the season as they won that game at Crow. They were an underdog, and I agree with Jeff. I think if likely Kentucky wins that game, but he was not, and because South Carolina had not been impressed. Struggled offensively, but they were able to take advantage of the matchups, and it was a tough loss. a tough way to lose because we knew that there was a chance that Levis might miss the game. And if this is a fork in the road game for Kentucky for this season, because, if they don't win this game against Mississippi State, I'll just say it, they're not beating Georgia.
Right.
They're not going to, they're not winning that game. They're not going to beat Tennessee. And you're headed for what would be a disappointment for Kentucky because that's where their program is. In another year, 7 excite the people, but with where Mark Stoops has brought this program, that would be disappointing.
Yeah, and Shane Beamer's comments were basically in the locker room after the game because Mark Stoops, and remember you go back to SEC Media Day, Shane Beamer had posted that little video of the sunglasses and the dancing and all that, and Mark Stoops had some comments to say about that. And so then yesterday, on Saturday in the locker room, Shane Beamer alluded to the fact that, made reference to, kind of threw shade back at Mark Stoops about the sunglass comment and all that other stuff. And so, that was a big win for South Carolina. If they want to get to 6 wins, they want to get back to a bowl game. That was a game that South Carolina needed to have because they're now 4-2 overall. They're 1-2 in SEC play.
Right.
They needed that win if they had any reservations of getting back to a week. Is South Carolina, when they take to the field the next time, they're going to take on Texas A&M. They will host Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M in 2 weeks.
Yep, let's go
South Carolina. 256-576-4977. If you want to get in on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, you got just a few seconds to do so because we need to, I tell you what, let's get this final break in because when we come back, we got to do a Team of the Week and we got to get your tomorrow's headlines in, all in one segment. So let's get that break in now.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just got a wreck at Garth Road in 4 Mile Post. That one's got a bus involved, and they're wanting the children checked out, but no report of obvious injury. 431 in Wilson Mans, and no injury, just working on getting it cleared out of the way. Someone dies from heart disease every 36 seconds. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue can help keep your heart healthy. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're speaking another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
Your favorite sports book, BetUS.com, is back for their 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including college football and the NFL. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com and use the promo code WZZN. That's BetUS.com and the promo code WZZN.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Online at 977ESPN.com.
Stream them online.
Call in.
It's an important job, and it's an vital organization.
Tweet in and join in. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone. This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. Each week, they lace it up. Each week, we'll present our Team of the Week.
Get it in here! I got one thing to say!
So it's time for the Bryant Bank Team of the Week presentation.
Welcome back to Talking Ball. It is indeed time for our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week presentation. And if you paid attention to the North Alabama High School Football Scoreboard show on Friday, which we hope you do each and every Friday, make sure you download the app so you can. The Bob Jones Patriots had one of those nail-biting games against the Sparkman Senators, and a huge, monumental special teams play, then a defensive effort towards the end of the game helped seal the win for the Bob Jones Patriots and Kelvis White and company, and therefore, I tell you what, you do that, you got to get some sort of recognition.
Well, you do, and the week before they lost a heartbreaker with a blocked field goal at the end, 38-35. To the Florence Falcons, and they'd been down 28-0 in that game and came back to have a chance to win. And in this game, it was a track meet, and it was the White Bowl, as we call it, Kelvis White versus LaRon White, and it ended up being a 48-40 Bob Jones win because, as you were saying, Scott, it was 41-40. They block a field goal to go. It's 48-40, but then Sparkman comes back and still has a chance to tied on a 2-point conversion, but they run out of time at the 2-yard line. So what a gut check for Bob Jones to win the game 48-40 in that shootout against the Sparkman Senators on the road.
And I believe now Kelvis has the best of LaRon. I believe it's 2-1 in favor of Kelvis as far as that series goes when the brothers meeting each other. All right, so congratulations to the Bob Jones Patriots, our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. Let's get out to the phone lines real fast as Brandon has been holding this morning. Good morning, Brandon. Okay, so let's get into your tomorrow's headlines today real fast because we do have those. And in case you were paying attention yesterday, the San Diego Padres have extinguished the New York Mets. They win that wild card series 2. I didn't know how I would feel first about having the wild games and all being at the same site. They don't rotate it. It's not, one home, one away, and one home. It's straight up you're home for the whole 3 games. Fantastic. Major League Baseball has hit a home run as far as the best of 3 wild card series. I didn't like it just being 1 game. Love being 3 games. It gives you something to play for, to be at home for that wild card.
Like a 3-game series, but so much more at stake.
And Major League Baseball has done well with there. So the Padres win that series. They get the Dodgers. The Braves now get the Phillies. And this morning, the Atlanta Braves announcing that they do a 6-year contract, $75 million, going to run through the 2028 season, and includes a $22 million or 2029 with a $5 million buyout. He will make $1 million per season for the 23-24 year, $4 million in 25, 20 in 26, and 22 in 2027 and 28. $92 million over 7 is exercised.
Yeah, so it's a great deal for Atlanta. Once again, locking up one of their young. Hopefully he's going to be healthy for this playoff run. He missed the end of the regular season with the oblique, but I know that they thought he was feeling good near the end of the season, and he could be back in the rotation. If not, he could be a long relief guy. But as we know, dominant strikeout guy is a rookie since Randy Johnson. Scott, he regularly throws 100 miles per hour. So the Braves locking up him. They did it earlier with Acuna and Ozzie Albies, and now Austin Riley. So they're locking up a lot of their pieces long term. Now we'll see what happens with Lieutenant Dan Dansby Swanson. He's going to be a free agent after this season. And then, you still have Max Fried. And Soroka, it's all about his health. They have to see where he is and if he can come back next year. But Max Fried and Dansby Swanson are probably the next 2 core guys that you're looking at to see what the Atlanta Braves do. And they set an attendance record this year, over 3 million fans, so some revenue coming in. And Alex Anthopoulos in that front office being very aggressive in getting this team and getting it under contract long term just to keep it together.
All right, Brandon is back with us this morning. Good morning, Brandon.
Morning.
Morning, guys. It made a loud pop. I just had to call back and make sure Jeff didn't blow the studio up.
Yeah, he was okay this morning.
If they lose Saturday, then he may have to because they're headed to 7-5 because he's probably listening, but they ain't beating Georgia. And they ain't beating Tennessee, so you better hope you win Saturday.
Well, I'm doing a little research here, looking at a place for Knoxville Saturday outside their Preacher's Smokehouse. I'm probably going to hit that up for a pregame meal if I can get in it because we're headed up there today. And be in Pigeon Forge the weekend and drive down to the game. So I bought these tickets for face value when nobody wanted to give them away back before the season. So I felt like I made a really good investment.
Good, man. That's a good aggressive move there.
Well, we loaded up the other night, Thursday night, to go to the game, and I put a sign on the back of our camper that said honk and flash if you hate Jimbo. And by the time we got to 759 in Gadsden, you would have thought it was the Dukes of Hazzard the horns was blowing so much. And the flash part, I meant flash your lights. We got over there in downtown Tuscaloosa, and I was glad my kid was asleep because we got a flash all right a couple times. I was like, okay. I was like, they're out tonight. But the best part was dropping a dime on Drew in this show in front of Nick Saban at Nick at Noon.
Now, what did you do?
I went in there and I was talking to Coach Saban, and they were talking about how contentious the game was, and I got up and said, I hope y'all beat the ever-living hell out of them like you've never beat anybody before. And Saban said, well, you know, people are a little amped up. I was like, amped up hell. I was like, you ought to listen to 97.7 The Zone outside of Huntsville with Drew and Scott. I said, if you want to hear amped up. I was like, Drew blows it up every day. I was like, he goes ham every time. I was like, we've been hating this guy so much, it's a wonder the entire city of Tuscaloosa hasn't invaded College Station and wiped it off the map at this point. And Chris Stewart was just rolling in his chair.
Has there been – okay, look, I get – and I've been here long enough to know that Alabama fans do not like Philip Fulmer.
Right.
Is this as close as it's come to Jimbo Fisher, Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher, Alabama fans
I would
since
say so.
the Philip Fulmer days?
I would say so, yeah.
I mean, is it that level?
Oh, yeah. I would say – because, I mean, when you call your coach a narcissist when you're one,
right,
and when, you know, members of your media call you a hypocrite when they're one, that's how that's created, because they're a bunch of propagandists who should be in the Middle East doing media work and doing whatever they're doing. I mean, it's just one of those things. And again, A&M played hard. I mean, they competed. They were very fortunate because Alabama was their own worst enemy. And if Bryce Young plays, it's like a 41-10 blowout. But he didn't play, and so that's the way it is. But the bottom line is Dirt Neck's 3-3, and if South Carolina, they might be headed for 6-6, and you know, and the funny thing is, some of their media was taking a victory lap with a moral victory, and Jimbo, when he was talking 1,000 words a minute in the press conference, was talking about but we played hard and we played well. We proved how good we can be. So he was taking a moral victory, basically lap, because he's trying to take pressure off of himself because he's in year 5 and he's got the highest paid D-line in America and they're not winning games.
Right.
And they can't even beat Alabama when Alabama's their own worst enemy. So.
Well, Clinton Dix was there with Ari Kwanjo, and he asked, if you tell me that state's name again, so maybe he'll tune in.
Maybe he will. We appreciate the shout-out, brother. Thank you, and I'm glad you had a good time at the game, and safe travels to Knoxville and Pigeon Forge.
Brandon's with us. Good stuff there. That's 2 hours of fun just like that.
You know, I didn't slam Dirt Neck too bad today.
I don't know, because look, Texas A&M has the athletes. I mean, you look at it, they're going to be good. He better win something in the next 2 years, because those kids, a lot of freshmen and sophomores on that Texas A&M team. If they don't get it this year, they got to get it in 2 years. Look, they're better than Iowa, okay? Iowa is so gosh awfully bad offensively, Drew. They're bad. They're really, really bad.
Gosh awfully. That's the first time I've ever heard that.
After a long, hot summer, there's nothing quite like the cool, crisp mornings of fall in Huntsville, Alabama. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and it's time to get out there. Whether it's hunting, camping, boating, biking, or kayaking, we've got the F-150 to take you there. It's truck month at Woody Anderson Ford, and we've got 2022 F-150s in stock on the lot, ready for your driveway today. And with your good credit, get financing as low as 2.9% for up to 60 months. This offer ends 10/31. Being the best-selling truck in America for 44 years in a row is no small feat. But I promise you, if you come drive an F-150, you'll understand. Woody Anderson Ford has nearly 100 F-150s to choose from and lots of colors and option packages. One of these is right for you. Truck month at Woody Anderson Ford. Exceptional deals on all our trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. And a great selection of Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicles. Woody Anderson Ford, corner of Jordan and Sparkman. Hope to see you soon.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Attorney Tommy Sinyard on behalf of Sinyard Law, and again proud to be a sponsor of All Things Football here on ESPN Radio. My son Bart and I started our own law firm July 1 and are very proud and excited to be bringing you our 50 years of collective national award-winning injury trial law experience. Check us out on the web, sinyardlaw.com.
Sinyard Law, nationally recognized, locally respected.
Hey there, folks. Bob Baumhauer here. We're celebrating 40 legendary years here at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. And to kick this off, we're coming in hot with our all-new Alabama Hot Chicken. Fresh southern fried chicken breast smothered in a blend of tangy, immune-boosting herbs and spices with a spicy finish. Served up with a side of homemade smoked Gouda cheese grits, Miss Mary southern greens, and garlic bread. And there's plenty more where that came from. Stop in today and celebrate with us. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Sports.
I'm Kevin Winter. The San Diego Padres advanced to the National League Division Series thanks to a 6-0 win over the New York Mets last night in Game 3 of the wild card round. Joe Musgrove tossed 7 innings of one-hit ball. He struck out at 5 and walked only 1. San Diego now gets the Dodgers in the Division Series. All 4 Division Series get underway tomorrow. Quadruple header coverage right here on ESPN Radio begins at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Sunday Night Football, Justin Tucker hits a 43-yard field goal at the gun, giving the Ravens a 19-17 win over the Bengals. Baltimore goes to 3-2. Cincinnati drops to 2-3. The Eagles remain perfect on the season, a 20-17 win in Arizona. It's Philly's 3rd ever 5-0 start, their first since 2004. The defending Super Bowl champion Rams, they dropped to 2-3. They lose at home to the Cowboys 22-10. Dallas has won 4 straight, all with Cooper Rush at quarterback.
From the ESPN studios at Pier 17 in the Seaport District of New York City, this is Greeny with Mike Greenberg on ESPN Radio. You can also listen and watch the show on the ESPN app.
Back in better than ever, Greeny presented by Progressive Insurance off the best sports weekend of the year so far. My guests are standing by. The hashtag crew is assembled. There's no time to waste. Let's do this. Here we go.
Only one place to start.
One place to start. Brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Greeny. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. The smartest thing I do every Monday is beg Ryan Clark and Rex Ryan to stick around after we finish, get up in the morning and do the beginning of the radio show here. And you know how much I appreciate both of you guys. Let's dive right into it. What was fascinating to me about the most talkable thing that happened in the NFL yesterday, which was the roughing the passer call that Tom Brady got. And that's the way I phrased it on Twitter. That wasn't a penalty on Grady Jarrett. That was a penalty that Tom Brady got. He drew a foul because I do not believe, and I don't say this lightly, that they throw that flag if anyone else is the quarterback. And so I can yell and scream about that. But the way both of you guys, RC, I'll start with you, it seemed to really offend you. Mm-hmm. Why was that?
Well, because people don't necessarily know how much work goes into one game, right? These men prepare the entire week for those 3 hours, for moments like the moment that Grady Jarrett was supposed to have, to come up with the big sack of Tom Brady, give your team an opportunity to get the ball back and win. And when that is taken from you, and is taken from you unfairly, then that's an issue, right? That's a season. That's a game. That's a season. That's a career. Those are lives that are affected by that play. I don't think people understand how difficult it is to take a loss or accept a loss in the NFL. Mm-hmm. You understand how important each of those games are. So when you do everything you're supposed to do and they take that away from you, it hurts. And so if you're Grady Jarrett and you make a play like that, if you're Arthur Smith and Rex understands this, he's standing on the sideline, you just said to yourself, we have a chance now. And in a second, that's taken away, and it's taken away with No viable explanation is taken away within no way film that supports what's happened, and you never get that back. And I think that's the problem I have.
No, I totally agree with you. And Grady Jarrett makes a super play, and this is still tackle football.
Yep.
Let's make darn sure we keep it tackle football. I love the idea of protecting our players. I applaud the NFL for changing their rules and all that about concussion protocol, but it's still tackle football, and it has to be. Nobody is going to want to watch flag football, okay? So let's make sure we get this thing done. This should have been a sack. And Greeny, to your point, I've been on the other sideline, and it sure sometimes feels like number 12 gets the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And in fact, if you're going to throw a flag, Greeny, I think you might have a better argument, and you and I talked about it before, about there might have been a flag on Brady.
Absolutely.
Instead of Grady
He
Jarrett.
tries, and again, it's an Eddie Murphy line, he tries to kick Grady Jarrett in the ding-ding after Jarrett sacks him in a perfectly legal play. Jarrett is just getting up and running back to the sideline, and Brady is frustrated, and he throws his leg up in his direction. He tries to kick him, and they throw a flag, and I'm watching the game, and I'm thinking, wow, they're going to call a penalty on Brady for that? I can't believe what I'm seeing. And then when I found out what they were actually calling, I was even more stunned.
We also have to think, right? You can't hit quarterbacks below the knee any longer because of Tom Brady. Because it caused Tom Brady to miss an entire year after he was hurt against the Kansas City Chiefs week 1 of 2007. And so just even thinking back to that, thinking back to how the NFL reacted, Tom Brady wasn't the GOAT yet. Right? He wasn't this guy. And thinking back to how they reacted with that lets you know who Tom Brady is, how he's officiated, but it's still, to me, it still is in no way an excuse for that call. If Tom Brady was dumped on, if Tom Brady was hit near the head, if he was hit below the knees, any of those things that are within the rule book and they're called, is something different than Grady Jarrett rolling over, pulling Tom on the ground, and then saying he unnecessarily tossed him to the ground. What is unnecessarily tossed? And Dan made a good point, though, about maybe the reaction to Tua's Thursday night concussion injury.
No, and that's what you hope doesn't happen.
Right.
I mean, like I say, protect the players, that's fine, but it is tackle football. It's still a violent game, and it still needs to be that way. When you look at this thing here, it almost takes your heart. If you're an Atlanta Falcon player, coach, fan even, you're down 21-0, and they come all the way back, and now you take away the opportunity for them to possibly win the game. It was absolutely brutal, and I don't care what they come back and say, we made the right call. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Don't ruin our game.
Not only that, but the circumstance of the game matters.
Yep.
If you want to throw that flag in the first quarter, that's one thing. But to make a judgment call, something that borderline, that doesn't impact the play, it's one thing to say, I'm not going to let pass interference go on 3rd and 5, because that is impacting the play. This obviously did not. It decided the game. They decided the game with that call.
Right.
Greeny presented by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with our easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. How about Brian Daboll? I said it on TV this morning, and I got more of a reaction than I was expecting. Not since Chandler and Monica has anything this shocking happened in London. And I don't know how many people in the room got that reference. Hopefully some got it at home. But no one gave the Giants a chance. This was going to be the week Aaron Rodgers was going to get it back together and the Packers were going to show who they were. And you know what? That game didn't look like a fluke if you watched it yesterday in London. That game looked like the Giants were more physical. They looked like they wanted it. The Green Bay Packers don't have any explosiveness on their offense whatsoever. Their defense gives up a 14-point lead. That was a statement, convincing win for the New York Giants.
Yeah, it sure was. And the funny thing is, going into it, I certainly believe the Giants had a chance in this game because I'm not a huge believer in Green Bay. But I also, the only reason I have that kind of confidence with the Giants is because of Brian Daboll, his coaching staff, and the synergy that team has right now under Brian Daboll. Like to me, look, here's you as a coach, you try to put your players in a position where they can be successful and succeed, obviously. And when I look at this, I'm watching Saquon Barkley, all the direct snaps to him. Why do you do that? It's so you can get the numbers in your favor. Brian Daboll understands that. In the red zone, look at his defense. Some hidden things that people don't talk about. Anytime you're in a low red zone, so from underneath the 20-yard line, 15 and in, that defensive line, you always used to teach that, hey, you are responsible for any ball that goes in between the hash. We've got to get our hands up. So we squeeze the pocket, get our hands up. 2 plays in a row on a